Hello, I'm Abigail Harmon, and I'm talking today about global warming and the greenhouse effect. Now, everyone has heard of global warming and the greenhouse effect, and most have an opinion on it, whether they believe that it's real or not, or whether it's important or not. But I'm here today to show all the facts about the greenhouse effect and how this is a real threat to our own lives. Let's begin with explaining global warming and the greenhouse effect. When high levels of CO2 are in the atmosphere, the planet begins to warm. The CO2 creates a blanket, allowing it to be difficult for the heat to exit our atmosphere. This is called the greenhouse effect. This is a cycle that runs exponentially, meaning that the more gas put into the atmosphere, the hotter the air becomes. As the planet warms, other greenhouse gases are affected, such as methane. As the planet becomes warmer, methane is naturally kept in ice pockets, and as the ice melts, the methane is released, and this makes our blanket even thicker. Water vapor also has a play in this. Water vapor is in higher concentration in the atmosphere when the weather is warm. So this not only collects more heat, but it can also have other damaging effects. This brings us to our next problem, severe weather and drought. With there being high levels of water vapor in the air, along with warm air, you get big destructive storms. These storms are devastating, and according to Science Daily, that when the sea surface temperature rises 1 degree Fahrenheit, the water vapor in the air rises 4%, and the rainfall rises 6 to 8%. This increase in rainfall can be deceptive. With high amounts of water vapor in the air, massive rainstorms come through. With large amount of rainfall in short amount of time, you get runoff water. And this is where, instead of being collected in the soil and going into the groundwater or the water table, all of this water is running off into drainage ditches or rivers or streams, etc., finally finding its way back to the ocean, and the whole cycle begins again. Now this is where the problem becomes real, is without water and food, what are we going to do? And now this is where people need to start believing and being proactive about this issue. Now some people argue that the heating and the cooling of the planet is a natural cycle, which is true. The planet does warm and cool itself on a natural cycle. But the high levels of CO2 in the atmosphere are higher than they have ever been before and continue to rise daily. For the past decade, scientists have been studying ice cores in the ice caps in Greenland and Antarctica. They drill these ice cores and pull them out, and these are perfect time capsules for seeing what the atmosphere was like long ago, because the gas gets trapped in the ice and then can be looked at, and they can look back as far as 800,000 years. According to the American Scientific Journal, these ice cores show the close-knit relationship between CO2 and the temperature of the planet. As CO2 levels rise, shortly behind is the average temperature of the planet. This means the more CO2 pumped into the air, the hotter the air will get. And the increase in emissions is now 400% more, according to the study done by the Alfred Wegener Institute for Polar and Marine Research. There are some natural causes for CO2 levels to raise, but not this much. Mainly, the natural causes are volcanic activity, wildfires, and just your everyday breathing of humans and animals. But unfortunately, humans must take the responsibility for the bulk of the CO2. The EPA states that 57% of the CO2 atmosphere is caused by the burning of fossil fuels, and this isn't all we are responsible for. The number rises when you start accounting for deforestation because there are no longer enough trees to filter out this high amount of CO2 in our atmosphere. These are real problems and have to be dealt with, hopefully sooner than later. The fact is, the more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the hotter our planet, our home will get. And then, where will we live? Where will our children live?